welcome to another episode of Healing Disclosures with Nicole. I am Nicole. I am your host. Thank you for joining me today. It is amazingly August 30th, I think. Time is like zooming by. And at the same time, I feel like a day goes by and it feels like 3 weeks, just because of the amount of things that are occurring in my reality. So if you have that, I completely empathize. It's a trip. Today's video is, again, divinely led. So I have affiliation with 2 groups on Telegram. I have my channel, Healing Disclosures, and then we have a couple of other channels in cooperation with Kathy. And what we've found over the last couple of months is, as much as we want to interact with people in our groups, it is perceived by me that people are afraid to talk, that they're been mistreated in other people's channels and rooms and groups. And I really feel called to take a stand on that, okay? Everyone went to the Telegram channels and the YouTube channels and the Rumble channels because our cup was not being filled for information, for truthful information in the mainstream. Like we all know that. If you're watching me, you know that. So I know for myself, and I will only speak for myself. I'm not going to use other people for an example because this is my truth. So I'm going to speak for me. I know that for myself, when I went into some of the currency rooms, I read the rules, but I also didn't realize that if you asked the wrong question that contained a list of banned members or banned topics, you would just get removed with no warning. No warning. So that happened to me on the very first day in a currency room. I asked a question. It had the wrong dueling currency truther person listed in the question, and I was kicked out. Okay. Again, that is teaching us how to behave in their rooms. That is censorship. That is abuse. And that is creating a controller-controllee environment. It makes them absolutely no better than anyone else in this world that we live in that want to control us and want to shush us for asking a question they don't feel like answering. So I didn't want to be in that room. Other people were wanting to share information with me from that room. I wanted nothing to do with that room. Why? Because I felt abused in that room. I felt like there were definitely things occurring in that room that I wanted no part of. Okay. So, you know, I bounced around to other little rooms, trying to find my niche, trying to find a place where I could ask a question without getting my hand slapped. And honestly, I never found it. Eventually, I figured out why. See, there are different avenues of delivering information. It does not mean that the people on the Telegram channels, the YouTube channels, the Rumble channels, their own platforms are giving you, number one, truth, and number two, giving you information that hasn't been fed to them to give to you in metered doses as a form of control, as a form of information control. And my friend Stephanie Schapp has been covering the bite model, and the bite model brought up some very valid characteristics that I could not help but connect the dots between the bite model and some of these truther groups and the way that they treat people who legitimately come to them for truth, for camaraderie, for inclusion, for kindness, to have a place. Because most of us, quite frankly, don't have a place in our own homes, in our own families. Like, we're the standout, you know? And we navigated to these Telegram channels and these YouTube channels and Rumble channels and whatnot for that, only then to find abuse, control, and censorship of us in our delicate state. And that cultivated a lot of people that stayed. They not only stay, they show up on a regular basis. Can't wait to get that abuse when the room opens. So let me just read off a few of the things from the bite model information that I personally experienced in some of these rooms. And they may or may not remind you of a room, a channel, an environment that you've been treated similarly. So the bite model is Stephen Hassan, H-A-S-A-N. It's going to be in the description box, so you can click on the link. It'll take you to the information. You can read it on it yourself. It is B-I-T-E model of authoritarian control. People hear the term mind control and brainwashing, and they think it's far-fetched, all the while participating in relationships, whether they are, a subscriber to a channel, or relationship where you're going in and you're looking for videos. If this is a relationship, this is an exchange of energy that exude unhealthy practices. Okay, so these are things I experienced. Again, Nicole, I experienced all of these. Instilled dependency and obedience. Deliberately withholding information. Now, we can all relate to that, can't we? You got to go to this place at this time and do this or to get some information. And if you don't get it, or you don't pay, or you don't tip, or whatever the case may be, there's always these little nuances in order to get information. We're fighting each other for a crumb of the truth. Come on now. Systematically lied to members all day, every day. All day, every day. That's what they are paid to do. That's what they are told to do. We can't really know what's going on because I think sometimes it jeopardizes the actual mission, and sometimes it's just not known. Is that an excuse to lie to us? No, but they do. Discourage access to non-members. So when I was kicked out of said group, I had some friends that had invited me to the group that they talked to me behind the scenes. They said, oh, make sure you don't make any comment. Make sure you don't put this out anywhere. Make sure they know it didn't come from me. They had fear of repercussions for communicating with me because I was blacklisted for asking a freaking question. Really? Okay, anyway. Former members banned and blacklisted. And keeping members so busy they can't think to investigate. So one place that I was shuttled off of for speaking truth, it just wasn't their version of the truth. They couldn't get rid of me fast enough. And although I was being super helpful to a lot of their members where their own moderators were not, the members are like, where's Nicole? Where did she go? She was so helpful. She was so this. She was so knowledgeable. She had all this to offer, and she's just gone. Oh, I got banned. That's where Nicole went. They couldn't get rid of me fast enough because I wasn't buying in to their bullshit that they were feeding you guys. And as soon as I stood up for truth, I was out of there. That's what happened to Nicole. Keep members busy. I'm sorry, I did that already. Control information sharing. Locking down information. You can't share it unless you're in the room. You can't know unless you're in the room in a live session asking questions. Nothing gets recorded. Nothing gets copied. It's called freedom of information. You do not possess proprietary information. Okay? You may have uncovered something. It is freedom of information. Last time I checked, we were all really, really hungry for our freedom and making damn sure people don't take it from us. And then there you are, hiding behind a truther symbol, collecting memberships and whatnot. Overabundance of required participation. Videos, chat rooms, multiple live events, etc. You know what I'm talking about. Misquoting statements and twisting the truth. Just deliver it. Just deliver the truth. Quit acting like you're the screen between the truth and the people. Okay? Give people the respect they deserve. Everyone has the ability to critically think, stop taking it away from them, deliver the truth, and let them, as a sovereign adult, decide what is best, what is real, what resonates in their soul. They don't know truth anymore because they never hear it. So now when they hear truth, they're like, ooh, that sounds bad. No, it's the truth. Force adoption of groups reality. So if you don't buy in 100% to the vision that they're selling, you're out of there. They can't have any weak links on what they're selling. It's like a multi-level marketing scheme, and you got a weak link at the bottom. They're going to get rid of you. They're going to replace you with the stronger member of the foundation. Forbid certain topics and questions. That's a big one. Every single one that I had issue with, there was like some unwritten rule about what you could talk about. Well, I'm sorry. My mind doesn't work on other people's preconceived idea of what's allowed topics. Okay, if something comes up and it triggers a question, people that are in that room should have the ability to at least ask it and have it answered respectfully, even if it is, I'm not sure, we don't really talk about that in here. So, maybe you can find that information elsewhere. And not banning, not having a negative repercussion, not making them embarrassed or shunning them or shaming them within the group, which is what happens. Manipulating emotions. So you have a lot of people that get made to feel propped up and their ego gets stroked and, oh yeah, they're always here. They always bring good intel. They always have this, they always have that. They're, whatever the case may be. We are all equal in God's eyes. I hate to break those bubbles out there, but it's true. Okay, I have had some amazing revelations about my own identity. Okay, and in spite of that, I am no better than anybody out there that is God's child. He makes us all in his image. Okay, get that straight. My ego died a long time ago. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I am humble in my role. Okay, very humble. I don't appreciate when people loom over someone they see or perceive weakness in and take advantage of them. Mostly because I've had people do that to myself, and I don't like it. It's inappropriate and it's abuse, and it needs to stop. Instilling ideas of any other affiliation is unwise. So they make you feel that if you verbalize or send a message or whatever your communication level is, that you shouldn't. Oh, why are you going there? Oh, that's treacherous. Oh, they're evil. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. Look, I have given advice on groups that I have had bad experiences with as a warning, but I don't tell people what they can and can't do. We get to exercise free will. This entire video is information about free will, what you should be allowed to exercise, that you should not be censored, other people shouldn't be deciding for you what you can contact and have information given, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all have free will. When you don't take into account that someone can exercise their free will and you take their choice away, you have violated a natural law. You have violated their sovereignty, and it is wrong, and it is punishable in the eyes of God. Just saying. Instill fear over independent thoughts. Yeah, they really are not receptive to someone having an independent thought. So if they didn't think of it, it can't be discussed. Or if you just try to discuss it, it's going to be stopped. It's going to be nipped in the bud. They're not going to want that. They got to be the ones on the pedestal, see? They have to be the ones getting the glory. And that's because they're driven by their ego. That's all it comes down to. Ego, power, fame, all the things that will make you crash and burn. For sure, 100. Shunning those who leave. So when I decided to leave these, I became the enemy. I became an infiltrator. I became someone who was not working in the best interest of the people, when that's all I've ever done, ever. So what do? We see it everywhere. We see it all the time. The rules have not changed. The playbook is the same. What they do is they call other people out for their own behavior. What they're actually doing, they'll project that onto someone else who tried to stand up and do the right thing. See it all the time. You know, y'all see it all the time too. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm sure you will. But these things, I want you to, like, seriously, even my information, my channels, look at it. Determine for yourself, am I in a good headspace? Is this a healthy relationship? Is this a good exchange of energy? When I come here in good faith to get information, am I leaving feeling better about myself or worse? Do I bring something to the table here that gets shoved in my face, or is it welcomed with open arms? Those are the questions in relationship to this scientific data in the bite model that I think we all, at this point in this reality that we're living in, need to evaluate for our own mental health, for our own sovereignty, for our own individuality, for our own self-concept. We have kind of gotten lost along the way in our affiliations, and it's usually been to the detriment. There has usually been some negative things that come out of that. I just want you to have caution. I just don't want you to have blind faith because there's an American flag behind the person talking to you. Because there's an American flag behind so many people at a podium making decisions for us day in and day out. It is not going to help us. Individually, city, county, parish, state, country, world. Same. Okay? Now, again, I want to give credit where credit is due. I didn't even know the bite model existed. I might have heard it sometime in nursing school. I'm not sure. But Steph focused on this. She's been reading through it. They've been discussing it on, I think, Zublik's channel on the Dark Outpost. It brought to light a lot of information I was not aware of. So kudos, Stephanie. Great job. So when it comes to my two groups, again, I have Healing Disclosures, and now we have Starseed Discovering Home. So happy about that. I'm happy about them both, but that Starseed trip is amazing. So the paramount goal in my groups is inclusion. You can speak freely. I want you to learn. I want you to grow. I want you to teach. I want you to Be an active member, okay? There is no hand slapping in my rooms, in my channels. Unless you are abusive and do not tone it down when asked to, we have free speech. I do not censor, okay? Now, there are some people that just want to be argumentative. I don't fit into that energy, okay? I'm not going to do it. I look for good, positive energy exchanges. That's what we all should look for. So if I come with good, positive energy, we have an energy exchange, I should be able to take good, positive energy away, okay? If you're constantly giving, and on the other end, they're just taking, there's no reciprocal exchange, that is uneven, that is unhealthy, and it should stop, okay? There's a lot of people that hide behind that truther moniker. 98% now, I think, is the number of people have been infiltrated, controlled. They have handlers. You can tell the vibe is shifted. It's not at all what you might have thought it was in the beginning. Get out. Get out. You're not missing anything, first of all. There's not been any event that you missed out on because you were in or were not in any group, mine included, okay? Things that are happening by and large are not in the public eye. And what is, it's available for anybody to see. There's not a whole lot of top secret stuff happening in anyone's, group. Just saying. If it is, they're not going to talk to us about it because it's top secret. Hello. So please evaluate your groups. I don't know, some people spend a lot of time in these groups and spend a lot of money and spend a lot of energy, and their mental health is suffering for it. They are feeling more and more despair. They're hanging on every word. They're buying into all these false deadlines. It's not good. It's an abusive relationship. You should recognize that and get out and do what is best for you and your soul and your spirit, and feed that. I have a nice, beautiful palm tree beach behind me, this scene. Outside, it is storming. You may have heard some thunder cracking, okay? The outside does not reflect who I am on the inside, okay? I exude light and happiness in all things. I try to. If something comes at me that's not, I'm putting up a shield. It's not going to get to me, okay? So these are the things that each and every one of us should be allowed to have, to encounter, to feel in any group. Okay, this should be the good things: honesty, integrity, love, compassion, kindness, inclusion, non-judgment, and the allowance of free will without repercussion. Ironically, all those things I just mentioned are what is vitally necessary to ascend, okay? Ascension is a big thing. It takes a lot of work, okay? It takes a lot of work on yourself. It's not about growing your vegetables. I mean, that's part of it, but not really. What you need to grow is your spirit. You need to cultivate that relationship with Source Creator and know 100% that everything you need to do that is within you. You do not need regurgitated scripture. You do not need any specific book. You do not need to be in any specific building. You could literally be homeless and have everything within your spirit to have a wonderful, loving, energetic relationship with Source Creator, with your higher self. That is the takeaway from today's message. Okay, I am on a hell of an ascension journey. I'm going to take you guys along with me if you're willing to go. It's going to be full of a lot of information. We're learning as we go along. Everybody has different hills and valleys, obstacles. Everyone's going to have something they bring to the table that we can all learn from. That cannot be experienced in an environment where censorship occurs. Okay? So, in my rooms, on my channel, I'm not going to have censorship to the best of my ability. Now, people censor me in other, platforms I have no control over. But that being said, there's only a couple of things that we're not going to have, and that is we're not going to have disrespect and we're not going to have abuse. I will not tolerate it. So if we can have respectful conversations and banter back and forth, that's fine. I want to learn, I want to grow. I want to help other people learn and grow on truth, not falsities. And at the end of the day, when people leave any kind of information I put out there, I want them to feel better. I don't want them to feel worse. So everybody's got a little homework assignment. I want y'all to click on the link in the description box, review the bite model information, take a look at each and every one of these rooms and channels that you subscribe to and that you give your time and energy to, and you decide for you, is this a good, healthy relationship, or is this an unhealthy, abusive relationship? It's one or the other. It's not going to be both. And then make a decision. Honor it. If you make that decision that this is not a good fit for you, end the subscription, block that person, and don't go back. They have nothing to offer you. If they haven't given it to you yet, it is not coming. It is not. Now, I hope that everyone has the ability to exercise free will. Some people really, truly are so scared to make a decision that, and it comes from our world, it comes from our environment of being, mistreated when you make a decision and not honored. So I really want to empower people to do that. Figure out what's really right for you. Figure out what really works for you. Figure out what makes you feel better after that interaction. And then make your decision, and we will all honor that, and we will live by that. And you will honor that. And at the end of the day, when you feel better in your decision, you know it's right for you. And it's based on what is good for you, not anybody else. Okay? We have to start thinking about our own sovereignty. And we're not doing that. As a collective, we are not doing that. We are sitting back waiting for somebody else to come give it to us. And it is not going to happen that way. You have to get it. You have to take your power back. No one's going to come knock on your door and say, here's your power delivery. You left it back in 1982. No one's going to do that. Okay? So I love you guys. I'm so happy you joined me today. I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but if you know me, it's not the first time and it's not going to be the last time. But we will get through this together. And I guarantee you the best is yet to come.